Okay?
So how you look so stylish?
How stylish. I have a
Okay.
t-shirt and an old sweatshirt on.
Okay, so let's kind of start.
Okay.
Okay. What's your name? We started from ground zero.
My
We
name
started.
is
Go ahead.
my
This
Beatrice
might feel like a deposition.
Beatrice Annette Lovesley, and I was born on October 10th, 1944, in the city of Kingston, in Jamaica, of the West Indies.
Of the West Indies. You're positive. Wow. Of the West Indies. Oh, wow. Wow. And that makes you a Libra.
That makes me a Libra. Well
Okay.
balanced.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's one of your earliest memory do you have?
One of my earliest memories was when we were living in Kingston. I think I was probably about 2 years old. And we shared a house. I don't remember where, with some other people. And I just remember sitting on one of those kind of rattan chairs, stools, outside the yard with my mom doing stuff. That, I think, is my earliest memory at about 2 or 3, like being a toddler. But I don't remember too much until we moved to Montego Bay, and then we lived on the railway compound, and that's where, I remember we started running around in the yard and making up kiddie games and stuff like that.
Okay. So you're originally Kingstonian?
Originally born in Kingston and then moved to Montego.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you can claim that? I
can claim that, yeah.
Okay.
The people who can say I was born in Kingston. But if you ask 99% of the Jamaican people, they say, oh yeah, man, I'm born in Kingston, man. Nobody that come from country no more.
Right. Wow. Kingston. And so you did you remember Montego Bay pretty well?
Yes, I remember it fairly well. I mean, it's different from the way it was now. But we used to stay around and, go to the beach and do stuff like that. But we left Montego Bay when I was about 9-ish, and we went to Port Antonio. Okay. And then that's where most of my growing up was. Okay. In Port Antonio.
Okay. So why do you think you left Montego Bay?
Because Daddy got transferred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Daddy was first in Kingston, and then he got transferred to Port Antonio for a short time, but I don't remember that. And then we got transferred to Montego Bay, where Uncle Tony was born. Lloyd and I were born in Kingston. Okay. We went to Port Antonio. Auntie Marcy was born in Port Antonio. Then we went to Montego Bay, and Uncle Tony was born in Montego Bay. Okay. And then when we transferred back to Port Antonio, all of us were there, and that's where we stayed. Okay.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what? So when did you?
So the railway kept transferring Daddy, so he had to go.
The railway kept transferring him. Okay. Okay. So what, did you ever ride the railway when you were young?
That was our means of transportation.
Okay.
We rode the trains everywhere.
Okay.
We never had a car. Right. And Daddy always said that the train is safer than the road. Right. So when we go on vacation or when we have to go to Kingston, we always rode the train. Right. And because he worked for the railway, you just get a pass. Right. And you ride on the train. So, for example, when we were younger and living in Port Antonio, every summer we would go to St. Elizabeth for the summer. So they just packed us up, put us on the train, and sent us off. And then somebody met us at the railway station and then took us to the house.
Okay. And they knew you were going to be safe.
And we were safe because there were people working on the train that Daddy knew.
Right.
So he kind of just said, hey, the kids are traveling today. Watch out for them. And they would make sure we get snacks and stuff and things. They would watch out for us till we get to our destination.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So who was one of your early childhood friends?
My very, very early childhood friend when I went to Port Antonio, her name was Grace Levy.
Mm-hmm.
Grace Levy was my earliest childhood friend that I can remember.
Okay.
We had just moved to Port Antonio, and she was going to the same school as me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how was that? How was that?
It was good. It was good. I mean, we went to high school together, and then after a while, we kind of got separated. She got married to Dr. Martin when she was like 18. She had just gotten out of high school. So she kind of left and was living an adult life pretty much.
Oh, okay.
We kind of went our separate ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you and Grace were friends?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But we're not in touch today.
Oh.
We're not in touch today.
Oh,
but
okay.
She lives in Jamaica now.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So what would y'all do? Like hopscotch? What kind of stuff?
Hopscotch.
Jump rope.
Hopscotch, run around, hide and seek.
Brown girl in the rain.
And tree, go to the beach. You know, we didn't have any electronics or anything like that. So we had to make do. We had hula hoops and you know, stuff like that.
So you could do double dutch and all that?
We weren't that sophisticated.
You weren't that good.
Plain jumping rope.
Oh.
But a typical childhood outside stuff. We didn't have much.
Oh, okay.
No, we didn't have any toys. We had to make our own toys. Like Uncle Lloyd used to make kites and what we call gigs, but they're really tops, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And slingshots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had to be really creative in making our fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you
music.
Mm-hmm. Listen to music.
Oh, okay. What was on the radio that time?
Well, on the radio, we only had like one radio station, but we used to be able to pick up a Miami station. It was WINZ Miami.
What? Y'all were listening to Miami music?
WINZ Miami, and in the evening we could pick up all the American rock and roll songs like Elvis and, you know, Bobby Darin and all of those.
Right.
And sometimes the reception would be really, really good. Sometimes you have to put your ear to the radio. Mm-hmm. You know, you have static. Mm-hmm. But that's how we used to get introduced to the American kind of music.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So, was they speaking Spanish on the radio?
You could pick up Cuba too, but we couldn't speak. You could pick up Cuban stations too.
Right.
But we couldn't speak Spanish.
Okay.
You know? But the Miami stations,
right.
WINZ in particular, I remember. We used to get, especially in the evenings, and we would listen to the music.
Wow.
Yeah, and all we had was a radio. We didn't have TV back in those days.
Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. So, was there a fascination with America at that time?
A fascination in the sense that anything you get from America was different. For example, when we were growing up, we weren't able to buy ready-made clothes. You couldn't go into the store, and very few ready-made clothes. You used to have the dressmaker make your clothes. Wow. Even the kids, they make your pants, they make your school uniform, they make everything. So when you get a dress from America, man, you style it. You know, because it's ready-made and it's American and it's, you know.
Right.
And, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what did you think of the times? It was 1950.
I think we moved to Port Antonio in 1957-ish.
Right.
1956, 57-ish. Things were very simple and true because we were still, when we moved to Port Antonio, there weren't hardly any refrigerators.
Oh.
We had an ice box, and you used to go to the ice factory and buy like a block of ice and put it in the fridge, and then you put it in the ice box, and you put your stuff in there. And then later on, we got a fridge. We had a radio you only had like one radio station, no TV. The times were very simple, but it was enjoyable. We didn't know any better, so we just made the best of it.
Wow. So were you conscious of the news, like what was going on in the world, like any kind of wars?
Yes, because you would get the news on the radio, and we would get a lot of British news, like BBC News. And you were conscious of the news.
Okay.
Yeah. You wouldn't get as much news as you get now.
Right.
Because you have so many outlets.
Right.
No. But you would get the news.
Okay.
But again, as kids, we didn't pay as much attention. You weren't bombarded with news as much as you are now.
Oh, okay. And what was the news in Jamaica?
Mostly what's going on in England.
Oh, okay, right.
And the African people starving, and the Russian Communist Party, and, stuff like that. Because back then there was not a whole lot of conflict going on. There weren't really not a lot of conflicts.
Oh, okay. So all the conflicts were going on outside of Jamaica.
After World War II ended, I think in 1945. And so between 45 and 55, it was that rebuilding period. And a lot of Jamaicans then started migrating to England and to America.
Okay.
So that's kind of how you got news too.
Okay. So did you ever feel like going to England would be a cool thing, or?
No, my parents didn't consider it. And I only considered going to England to maybe get to college. And it was back in those days to go to England to study nursing. Because, you're a British subject, so to speak. So it was easy to go to England. And, that was the easiest way to sort of get out if you applied to a place to go study nursing. But I quickly realized that nursing was not for me. So I aborted that plan pretty quick.
You aborted that plan pretty quick?
Yeah, pretty quickly. Oh, yeah. Pretty quickly.
I wonder why.
Because I don't like nursing. I mean, I am very, very interested in medicine.
Right.
And I read a lot of medical stories. And I'm interested in it that way, but I wouldn't want to be a practitioner.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to be a medical practitioner, but I'm interested in science and medical stories, and I read a lot about, difficult cases. People present with this, and they give these symptoms, and I like to know what the outcome is, and I read a lot of, I like to read stories written by doctors from their perspective, their experience dealing with patients. Like, I just bought a book called Angels in the ER. And it's an ER doctor talking about the cases that he sees when the people come in. Different people from different walks of life with different complaints. Some real, some not real. I love to read those stories.
Oh, okay.
And to hear how the doctors think.
Okay.
And the efforts they make to save lives.
Right.
And how, and hence the title, Angels in the ER.
Right, right.
Those love to read those stories, and I have a lot of them. I have a lot of those books.
Okay, okay. So you were a very avid reader as a child.
Um, Once we were not in a position to purchase books,
Mm-hmm.
and once we moved to Port Antonio, and I was able to join the library at about age 10, 11,
Mm-hmm.
is when I started really reading a lot.
Okay.
So we go to the library, get books, and read. So yes, I would say yes, but we didn't, back in those days, we didn't own books. We used to go to the library.
Okay. So your mom taught you to read?
Who?
Your mother taught you to read?
Yeah, I learned to read at a very, very early age. And we used to have the newspaper, and, my mom would be working in the kitchen, and she would have me read the newspaper to her.
Oh, the Gleaner?
To catch up on the news.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So reading has always been and then they used to have a series of books at the library. They were like English mystery books, children books like Nancy Drew and those kinds of books that I used to love reading.
Oh, so you were a Nancy Drew fanatic.
But
Solving
everything
mysteries.
in general, you just have to take what the library has, because
Right.
we weren't in a position to go to a bookstore and buy a book. Only school books could be bought.
Only school books could be bought.
And then we used to maybe buy comics.
Oh. And which ones, like Archie and... Which kind of books were those? Archie?
Archie, Andy Cap. I can't even remember it, but those kind of comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, wow. So you're in the 50s. How did you feel about having brother and sister?
Huh?
How did you feel about having older brother, younger sister?
It was great. I mean, I still love my siblings. To me, I think there's a kind of sibling bond that nobody can penetrate that sibling bond. I enjoyed having older brother and sister. However, in Jamaica, there's a certain hierarchy. It's not, like Lloyd was like the king.
Right.
You don't play together, you don't socialize together because he's the older one. Then you have me, then you have Marcia, then you have Tony. Now Tony, he don't enter our circle at all because he's like a kid, Right. But when you get to be adults, then you yeah.
So the hierarchy was okay?
It was okay. It wasn't fun. Because you have to look up to Lloyd, and Marcia has to look up to me, and Tony just has to respect the older ones, and
right. Right.
But it was nice. I think order is good, and then when you get older, you all seem to sort of come together, and then the age difference doesn't matter anymore.
So what's kind of a story that happened with you and your siblings playing? And
well, I'm going to give you a good story that I remembered very well.
Okay.
Tony was my father's pet. And I was doing something in the house. I was a teenager by then.
Right.
And we were running around the house. I had something that he wanted, and running around the house, and he was chasing me.
So you were antagonizing him. You were antagonizing him.
And he took a boot and hit me on my ankle.
Right.
And my ankle started to swell up. And it really hurt. And he was scolded, but he wasn't beaten. My father said, "Oh, you should respect your sister. She's the older one, and why are you chasing her, blah, blah, blah." While me sit on there and nurse my foot, Tony never get no spanking.
He got away with it?
He got away with it, but I do remember I remember it very well. And of course, going to high school, I am a senior person to him. He's like a little runt. And I am in a position to, discipline him. And he would just kind of like tease, because there's that familiarity.
Right.
And he be late for school. And, our school is a lot different than here. Right. We have order and discipline, and it's like you're in the army. You do certain things. You don't misbehave. The teachers hold the sword, and the teachers have authority over you. So it's like one of those. It's just a different thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there were a lot of incidents that I couldn't even remember off the top of my head now.
Okay.
I can't even remember off the top of my head now. For example, I remember something happening with Marcia where, we have mango trees, and to get the fruit off the tree, you use a bamboo stick and you try and juke it off the tree, and Daddy kept saying, Marcia, you better put that bamboo down. You're going to hurt yourself, blah, blah, blah. And there was this mango that she wanted, and she kept sticking the thing, and the stick came back and hit her in the eye, and she ended up with a big gash. Lots of things back in those days. Oh, yeah.
Childhood things.
A lot of things, true. I would really have to think hard to say, oh, yeah, this happened and that happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys used to go out on the water, on a boat?
Oh, yeah. You remember near the island?
Yes.
Once we moved to Port Antonio is where we had the most fun. Okay. Because then we went to the beach all the time. Right. And Daddy would get, the people at the wharf would lend him like a little motorboat. And he would take us across to the island. And then we would swim and do whatever we wanted. And then we come back. It was fun. We used to go out to near the island occasionally, but mostly to the beach. There were different beaches in Port Antonio that you just go to and hang out.
Oh, okay. So you could swim pretty good.
I'm not a good swimmer. It's one of the things that I want to learn.
Right.
I am not a good swimmer. I can do a little breaststroke and keep my head above water, but I really would learn to be a better swimmer. It's one of the things that I wanted to do when I retired. I said I was going to take swimming lessons, but I haven't done it yet. Yeah, I'm not a good swimmer. I want to be a better swimmer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I want to be a better swimmer.
Wow.
I can keep my head above water and I can breaststroke for like 2 minutes. That's it.
That's it? Just breaststroking?
Just breaststroke.
Wow.
So, one of these days, maybe you can teach me.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because I know you're a good swimmer.
I can swim, yes.
And Vince, of course, and I think Erica can swim too.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll do that. So you always wanted to be a teacher. Like, what did
I always wanted to be a teacher. Teaching was always my dream, which is why I tell you about the nursing thing, because of the ease with which you could go to England. Right. I said, maybe I'll just go and do nursing. But I knew that wasn't me. I used to pretend. I used to have pretend classrooms at home where I would line up the pretend children and the pretend blackboard and teach, But, of course, I didn't have the opportunity to go to university in Jamaica. And then when I went to the U.S., thinking that I could work my way through school, then my life kind of changed where I got married and then I had kids and then was in school, so we both couldn't be in school at the same time. And when he got finished and then we went to Milwaukee, then I had to start working in the office. And I never got the opportunity to go. So it just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out.
No, it just didn't work out. But then again, having moved to the U.S., teaching is so different there. I don't think I would have loved the profession
anymore. You wouldn't have
I
loved
don't
it.
think I like the discipline of being a teacher in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I don't like it here. Kids are very, you know, they're very no. They have no respect for teachers, and they don't behave in the classroom, and they put their feet up on the desk, and they lean back, and they chew gum, and they talk to each other while the teacher is talking, and they no. So yeah, but that was my passion, to be an English teacher.
And that was
nothing else but English.
Was that your favorite class?
That was my favorite subject.
Okay. Why was it your favorite?
I just loved it. I loved the whole. I loved the mechanism of the English language, the structure when you break it down, the different parts, vocabulary, writing. I just love it. I just think there is a certain. I don't know what to say. I like when you can deconstruct a sentence, and even when I'm reading, I like the way certain things are written, in a certain style. I like when I like a good communicator when you're trying to get across to somebody else and they understand or get exactly what you're trying to say. If it's a little humor, they get it. If it's a little, I don't know. I just love it.
Oh, okay. So were you good at writing too?
I'm not good at writing because we weren't taught how to write. The emphasis in Jamaica really was mostly grammar and vocabulary and, proper sentence structure and stuff like that. I'm not a good writer in the sense that I don't know how to compose very well, because I don't think we were taught that very well. And it could be just the teacher that I had at the time who maybe that wasn't a strength and it just wasn't taught.
Oh, okay.
But
all right. So how was the math class though?
Oh no. That was a disaster.
That wasn't
so
good.
I will tell you that I was very poor at math. And the reason being, when you build a house, you have to put the bricks and then you build up.
Right.
I never got it from the foundation bricks.
You didn't get the first brick?
No.
What happened to your bricks?
My bricks fell off, and I didn't even know they fell off.
Right.
I would be in algebra class, and the teacher is talking, and she may as well be talking Russian.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Geometry, I had all the tools, the protractor, the whatever. I didn't get it. It was like a foreign language. So I stumbled my way through math, and I think I ended up failing math because I could, and to this day, I don't get it. But I realized that had I understood the very basics and the foundation of math, that is the key. Because when I went to New York and I went to business school, to do my secretarial work, I did an accounting class, and I did great because I was learning from the bottom up, the very basics up, So I recognized that I could have done better, but I never had the foundation.
Okay.
I never understood. I didn't go from step A, B, C, D, E. I went from A to F. Oh. And I didn't know what was going on.
You were advanced. You were just trying to go from A to F. That's not the way to go.
No, it was bad. My math was awful. Geometry, algebra, and math, and thing, no.
Oh.
No. Okay. And I think if you're good at math, you're almost good at everything. I think if you're good at math, you develop a kind of mind that's you're good at everything. If you're bad at math, you're not a good thinker. I mean, what I mean to say is, it's if you're good at math, you have a very keen mind, I think. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. What do you think?
I think you can juggle a lot of abstract things. Math requires you to.
That's what I'm trying to say. Not that you're dumb, but I think when you have that kind of mathematical mind and you can see things in a different way that other people can't. You can decipher things more quickly than other people.
Okay.
That's the way I feel. I don't know. Do you agree or not?
I think it's just different levels of to a certain degree, yes. Mm-hmm. So, you growing up where you lived, can you describe it? Port Antonio, like your house and.
Okay, so when we moved to Port Antonio, we were living on the railway compound. Okay, you have the whole railway area, and there was a house. There were two houses. Well, there were more than two, but there was this house on the railway compound it's the quarters for my father, my father's job.
Right.
And so that's where we lived. And then, of course, there was the other house where Dad lived. You had the station master where the railway station and then the house is on the top. And that's where Dad and his family lived. And then a little further down, you had the other house where we lived.
Okay.
And then you had other houses on the railway compound where other people lived. But I really only remember these two houses. So we moved to this house, and we lived there for a number of years. I think we started high school. We went to elementary school first, then we went to high school. And then after a few years, my dad, they either eliminated his job or they gave him early retirement or something like that. And we could no longer live in that house. So that's when we moved up to Prospect Farm, where my aunt and uncle had this property with the house on the hill, because they were living in the States.
Oh.
And they bought this house for their retirement house.
Wow. And that was your aunt? Yeah, it was your aunt?
Yeah. Aunt Lydia
and
her husband, Uncle Hubert, they had moved to the States in the late 40s.
Wow.
And so they bought this house from who was then, I think, the mayor or somebody of Port Antonio.
So they were doing pretty well.
They were doing very well. They were saving all their money with the intention of coming back to Jamaica. So they bought this property, which was maybe about 20, 30 acres, and the house. And because there was nobody in the house, they said, sure, we can go live there, which was a good thing. So we moved from the railway house to Prospect Farm. And that's where I spent most of my high school days. And we had a lot of fun there, too, because it was a big house. And it was really very nice and big property with fruit trees and everything like that. So it was nicer than the railway house.
Oh.
And so when I left Jamaica, we were still living in that house.
Oh, okay. And you had your own room?
Marcia and I shared a room.
Okay. And Lloyd and Tony?
And Lloyd and Tony shared a room, yeah. But it was a nice big house. It was really nice.
Okay. And it's still there to this day, or?
It's broken down. It's broken down now because so what happened is our cousin Ronald, who is the child of Uncle Hubert and Aunt Lydia, he decided to move to Jamaica. So when he moved to Jamaica, my family had to move out. So they went to live in another house. And he lived in that house. But when he came to Jamaica, he didn't really have a job per se. So the way he got money was selling different parcels of land off the property. And it caused the property to depreciate. It changed the whole environment of the house because the setting was this property with just this one house.
Right.
And then people started buying little pieces of land and building houses. And then it just became kind of like a regular old neighborhood.
Oh,
you know?
So it was how much land was it?
Huh?
How much land would you say was on it? Acres?
I would say it was maybe about 30, maybe 20 acres. And so, do you remember when Grandpa Louis died and we went to the funeral? You remember the property up on the hill?
I remember the house.
You remember the house?
Yeah.
It was like an upstairs house.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the house that we were at when Grandpa Louis died.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Remember we went to Jamaica and Grandpa Louis died suddenly?
Right.
And we had to go to the funeral?
Right, right.
Well, that was the house, and that's where Grandpa Louis is buried. But it's changed completely now. Because Ronald died, and one of Ronald's children he was living in England, and he wanted to go to Jamaica to live because he wanted to teach at Titchfield. He's a teacher.
Right.
But the house was in such disrepair he couldn't live there.
Wow.
So it's kind of broken down now.
Oh, okay.
But we had a lot of good times there.
Oh, okay. And that's where you have land there too?
So when Aunt Lydia died, in her will she left us a piece of land.
Oh, okay.
Right? And Lloyd, Marcia, and I don't really want to maintain it anymore because we have to pay taxes every year.
Wow.
And we have to pay somebody to take care of it. I think it's just an acre. So Tony wants to hold on to it. Okay. Tony wants to hold on to it. So I consider it now his.
Yeah, that's good.
Because he pays the taxes and he does the thing.
Right.
Because the same fellow that I'm telling you about, who happens to be the son of our cousin, who wanted to go to Jamaica to live, but when he went to the house was in disrepair. He couldn't live there. He asked us if he could acquire our piece of land to build a house there. And all three of us agreed, but Tony said no, he didn't want to get rid of it. He wanted to hold on to it. So we consider it his because over the years we've been paying taxes on it, thinking maybe we would put up a little house or something. But the area has changed. It's no longer the serene, quiet little area. People have built up little housey all around. Okay. So it has changed the environment of the place. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Drew? So if you were to go there, it's not a nice neighborhood anymore.
Right.
So that's the deal. And then we used to have a guy, his name was Jasper. He used to be the caretaker of the property of Prospect Farm. Right. And he used to oversee this place for us. You know, he would go and make sure the bush is cleared out and stuff like that. But he died. So now there's nobody looking after it. And when there's empty land like that where nobody comes or goes, people squat on it. Right. And start planting stuff, and it's a headache. So that's the deal where that is.
Okay. Okay. So we're up to high school now.
So high school was a great experience for me. I was a very studious person, right? You know, and I loved school, and I loved high school, and I liked the pomp and ceremony of high school and the sports and I just liked everything about it.
Okay.
So
I heard you were a netball star.
Say what?
Netball was your thing.
I was not an active participant, but I was what you would call a hanger-on.
Oh, okay.
I was always around the team, and I traveled with the team, but in an unofficial capacity.
Oh, okay. You were taking notes.
I tried to play netball, but I wasn't good. The grades just do not have a athletic bone in their body. Neither one of us. None of us. Not Tony, not Lloyd, not Marcy, not me. I tried to play netball. Drew, I've got to tell you, I tried to play netball. I didn't know which net I was supposed to be driving the ball to.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a total disaster. But I hung out with the girls, like Marcia Brown and Val and everybody. And, I just hung out with them.
Okay.
So it was fun. But and when it was sports day in high school, it's a little different in Jamaica because we have what you call houses. You belong to a certain house, like plant house, grass house. It's a different, I don't know how to say it. But anyway, you compete against each other.
Right.
And when it's sports day, you have to run races, relays, high jump and everything.
Okay.
I would always come last in my race. I always come last. I never could win a race. So, Drew, my objective when I'm running the race is not to win.
It's not to win?
There's just this one other girl that I have to beat.
That's all?
The two of us were just as bad. So, when I start the race, I'm not looking to win the race. I just don't want to come last.
You don't want to come last. Oh, no.
And most of the time, the girl inches me out. Because she was tall, she had long legs, and most of the time she inched me out. Yeah. I remember her name to this day. Her name was Sadie Rushy.
Oh, Rushy.
This is Sadie Rushy.
Oh, my goodness.
And I start the race because I know I can't win.
Yeah.
And I just want to beat her. I'm not looking at who up there. I'm looking at her.
Right. Y'all did that?
I just want to beat her. I just don't want to go last.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, but high school was good. And, of course, the guys used to play soccer. And, of course, at a certain time, Lloyd was in high school, Dad, all the boys. So, it was fun.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
what
made high school fun for me is our house was like, people used to come to our house all the time. Kids could always come and hang out. And I still love that kind of environment. Marcia's friends would come and Lloyd's friends would come and everybody come and we have a good time.
Just play around the house.
Just play around the house. We had a table tennis board and we'd play table tennis or we'd play music. We listen to records.
Okay.
We put records on and we listen and we sing and just had fun.
What music was playing on the radio that time?
Rock and roll, man. Elvis and the Drifters and, the doo-wop period. Yeah.
So would you say your favorite singer from there was Elvis, or who was your favorite?
Elvis was a big deal, and I saw every Elvis movie back in the teenage days. Yeah, Elvis was, I would say he was my favorite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say he was my favorite.
Okay.
But we used to listen to records, Drew, and we would know all the words to all the songs.
All the words, what was your favorite Elvis song?
And I remember Marcia tells a story that she was getting ready to go to school and there was a song coming on the radio and she was trying to write the words of the song down and she was going to be late and Daddy kept saying, oh, you gotta go, and she said, oh, I just want to get this song. And after she wrote the words of the song down, he just took it and tore it up and said, no, go to school.
And that broke her little heart.
That broke her heart, yeah. She still tells the story to this day. Yeah. Still tells the story to this day. But Marcia was the rebel.
She was the rebel.
Auntie Marcia was the rebel, yeah. I was the goody one.
Oh.
I obeyed the rules.
So she would get in trouble and would kind of make things easy.
She get in trouble all the time.
She would make life easier for you because she would take some of the...
Well, we didn't do things together because remember I tell you about that hierarchy?
Right.
Where she had her friends and I had my friends.
Right.
So, if she was wanting to do something that she knows she's not supposed to, and I said, Marcy, you know you're not supposed to do that, she would do it anyway. She's very defiant. She'll do it and take the consequences. Now, me too, Fred, me not doing it.
You're not doing it.
You know what? No spanking. We used to get spanking too.
You don't want no consequence.
No, me don't want no consequence. The ones when we get innocently is enough. We're not doing anything deliberately to get no spanking or punishment. No, sir.
That's
and my mother was very strict. Strict, but strict in a wise way. You know, strict but strict in a wise way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what was some of the things she was very important for her that you do?
Oh my goodness, Andrew, I would say that the person I am today has a lot to do with the person that my mother was. I know you don't remember her very well, but she was just, you know, she was very strict about certain things, but she was very lenient about certain things. She understood that as teenagers, as kids, we had to have our outlet. So she would let us go to the movies, let us go to the parties, let us go wherever we wanted. But you had to be, if you had to obey the rules. In other words, if she says be home by 10, be home by 10. It's almost like you earn credits by doing what you're supposed to do.
Oh.
So, you know, I have friends who, let's say somebody's having a party, and my friend would say, oh no, my mother said I can't go because I went last week, and, you know, we went to this and went to that. She says, we can't go. You just can't go. Now, my mom would say, sure, you can go if you can come home by midnight.
Right.
So you go, you have your fun, you come home at midnight. And Lloyd used to be our savior too. Right. He would take us, you know, if Lloyd is going, you're cool. Because he's like the caretaker.
Oh, okay.
You know? And then a lot of times though, he would take us home by 12 o'clock and then him gone back.
That's right.
Because he's a boy. He get away with it.
There's a real party, after parties going on.
Yeah, you know,
right.
So even if you want to linger a little bit, you would say, nah, you gotta, because he would take us home and then he'd go back. But she was very wise that way, and she was very strict about behavior and how you present yourself and what you wear and how you speak and manners and everything like that. And to this day, I can tell you that all of those lessons are in my head.
Okay.
I was talking to Tony the other day, and he says, man, you know, when mother was being so strict and telling us to do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, he said, man, I bow down to her now for all the things she taught us how to behave.
Right.
You know, and how to act with people and how to treat people and how to talk to people and don't look down on people and don't judge, you know, all of those things.
Right.
And not to be jealous of people, you know. You have people who, oh, he has that, so I want it. Or this one, no, you don't, you stay in your own lane and earn your own thing for yourself.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what
Focus and don't keep up with the Joneses?
Don't keep up with the Joneses, and don't be necessarily, which is not to say that ambition doesn't play a part.
Right.
You understand? But a lot of times she used to say, you see, people have things, you don't know how they come by it. It might not have been honestly earned. You know what I'm trying to say? So don't let that dazzle you. You know?
Don't be dazzled.
Don't be dazzled. Don't be dazzled. Don't look at the glitz.
What's for you is for you.
Glitz. Look what's behind the glitz.
Oh, okay.
Look at what's behind the glitz. Oh, yeah. You know, it's like when you're a teenager, or Lloyd and I were talking about it the other day, too. When you're a teenager, you're attracted to the handsome guy and the pretty girl and everything like that. Well, the pretty girl is just an airhead. And the handsome guy's just a player, and you
It's
want
got to
to
be
know
substance.
who a person is, who the core of that person is. That's what you need to look at,
Right.
not the exterior.
Okay. Okay. The makeup
Yeah.
of the person.
The character of the person.
Gotcha.
The integrity of the person.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did you learn most from your father? Like what was his?
Okay, so my father was. What I loved about him is he was really easygoing.
Right.
He got along with everybody. He had this cool, calm persona where it's kind of like nothing bothered him. You know, he was able to kind of maintain his equilibrium. He didn't get flustered. He didn't get angry. You know, some people just fly off the handle. Even if he gonna spank you, he just calm and cool. You know, even if he's going to say no, da 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 da. He's not shouting. He's not cursing. He's not doing any of those things. And to this day, I really do believe that you can get your argument across to somebody without cursing.
Right.
You can explain something to somebody in a very calm and collected way without losing your cool.
Oh, okay.
That was him. You know, if, let's say, for example, he had a prized possession. Let's say he had a prized thing and you play and knock it down and he's super, super angry. I have never seen my father lose his cool or get angry or lash out, "Are you see what you did? No."
So how would that? So he would just say, "Go grab the stick."
Yeah, he'd say, "Well, you know, you're not supposed to do that. I told you not to do that. Why did you do that?" You know, but he wasn't the one that used to spank a lot. Mother was the one who used to spank a lot. He was just pretty cool. You know,
so
you would know you did wrong and stuff, but he wouldn't lash out. He was just this cool guy. I don't know. No, he did have his alcohol problem where he used to drink a lot, and then when he drinks, he's like a whole other slob, you know. But when he's not drinking and has his full capacity, just really pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
And I like that. And I like the way he dealt with everybody on, you know. But my mom did too, though. My mom did too.
Right.
I mean, I would say I learned more. I got more lessons and discipline and stuff from my mother. But I also learned from my father how to be just very copacetic, so to speak. You know the word copacetic?
Yeah.
It's that mean just being cool, kind of. And people who fly off the handle very quickly and lose their cool very quickly, it's not a good thing. You want to be able to handle the situation with your faculties intact.
Right.
You know, for example, people feel like if they lose their cool and they start cursing and they start shouting and blah, 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 that they are making an impact. I feel like I will say very calmly what I want to say, even if I'm angry, and make the same impact. In fact, come across a lot better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Marcia teases me and says that my 3 words is that just doesn't work for me. No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
But anyway, that's kind of more from my dad. My mother was the disciplinarian. Dad was more the cool guy.
Oh, okay. And did you know your grandparents?
I didn't know any of my grandparents. No.
Oh, okay.
Not on my mother's side. Not on my father's side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what happened with. Okay, there I am. Yeah. I don't know what happened actually.
Okay.
But They were dead by the time I was born, and my father never knew his parents.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that whole side of the family, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. But it wasn't a problem growing up. You had enough. I mean, you didn't think about, oh, I wonder what. You didn't miss them. You had enough.
I had enough on my mother's side. You know, we used to go to country all the time, St. Elizabeth and stuff like that. No, it didn't affect me in any way. But in later years, I understood how it affected my father. In later years, when as an adult, I recognized how not having his parents affected him. Hence, I think his problem with the drinking. Because he never had any siblings. He never had any relatives. He had relatives, but he wasn't close to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? So, I mean, I understand now how it may have affected him in some way. But, you know, sometimes it takes some years to really understand the gravity of a situation.
Right.
Sometimes you don't get it until, you know, you reflect on stuff and then you say, yeah, you know, that's just the way, you know.
Okay. So what was some of the fun things that did you take vacation when you were growing up? I mean, high school years?
You never... No, we, to be honest, we didn't go on vacations kind of like how we go on vacations now. Our vacation mostly was going to relatives. Like in Montego Bay, you hear me talk about the Morrisons.
Right.
Howard and Never Morrison.
Right.
We would go to Montego Bay and we would spend time there. Or we would, when we were younger, we would go to St. Elizabeth and spend time in the country.
Right.
But we really didn't go on vacation per se. Number one, we didn't really have the money to, let's say, go for a week somewhere. It's mostly just visiting relatives. And that's how it is in Jamaica a lot.
Right.
When you go on vacation, you go spend time with a relative.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And I used to do a lot with Marcia and Sonia Brown. I used to hang out at their house a lot.
Right.
And if they were going places, they would take me, which I really enjoyed a lot.
Right.
They sort of took me under their wing, and to this day, I am grateful to them for. It was the only other house that I could go to,
right,
and just feel like a part of the family,
right.
And if they were going to the North Coast or places that traveling around,
right,
I would go with them, and I would just be like one of the kids.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was the fun house.
The only place that I could go to, and I still feel level of closeness to them to this day.
Okay.
Because when Marcia comes, from Canada and she spends like a month here,
she's one of the family.
And people will say, "Oh, your friend coming in? She's staying for a whole month." Yeah, she coming. She's staying for a month. She can stay for 2 if she want.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just that, and I try to explain to people that the way we grew up was completely different. Right. We just had this. Marcia and I were talking about it the other day. Marcia and I were talking about it just yesterday when we were having lunch with Marcia's mother.
Right.
Because we were talking about how, you're sitting down to dinner in Jamaica and somebody comes to the house. Nobody not calling to say, "Oh, we're coming by." They come to the house, we're sitting down to dinner. Okay, you cut the piece of meat in two and you keep on moving.
So nobody invited them, but
we were just sitting down to dinner. We were just going to have dinner and we don't have enough. Here we have enough. It just means that you get half a cup of rice and I get the other half.
Oh, okay.
It's no big deal.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have people who showed up right at dinner time all the time?
Drop in. They will drop in all the time. Not all the time, but if somebody drops in, it's not a big deal. You have a big pot of stew peas and a big pot of rice, you just get another plate.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's no biggie.
So, did you always think you were going to come to America, or did you think you were going to come to England, or?
No. To be honest, Drew, I was flying blind. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was flying blind. I knew I wanted to go to university, but we didn't have any money. And in Jamaica, as you know, there's no way to get there. You can't work at McDonald's and pay your way. There's no way to do that, right?
Not enough.
No, there's no way to do that. So what happened was then I started working in Jamaica, and then I came to New York for just to kind of see what was going on, you know. And it was initially supposed to be a vacation. I took leave from my job to come to New York. And my Aunt Linda was living in New York at the time. And then, you know, you kind of see what's going on and stuff and that. And she asked me, you know, well, what are you planning to do? Are you going to... And I said, well, I don't have any money to go to university. I don't know. You know, I was kind of flying blind. And we kind of decided, okay, well, if you stay here... This is when I went to secretarial school. I went to this business school, got my diploma so that I could get a job and go to school. Right? So the whole idea was to get this certification so that I can work and put myself through school. Well, I got my certification. I started working at the UN. Right? And a lot of people were doing the same thing. They were going to school at night and working during the day. A lot of people were going to school, working and going to school. Then we go meet up with somebody named Vin.
Right.
And the whole table's changed. Wow. Now he's in Washington. I'm in New York. So okay, all right. The idea is move to Washington. Okay? So I moved to Washington, and then I get a job at the World Bank. Okay. Then, whole tables change again. Here comes Vince. Here comes Andrew. Here comes Erica. Okay? Don't look like that plan gonna work.
Oh, wow.
Don't look like that plan gonna work.
The plan changed.
So it's just a dream deferred. It's not a big deal. You know, it's just a thing. Dream deferred. Okay. So then, and I think that the whole DC thing was fine. It was great. We survived. We did our thing. We did okay. Okay, now we got to go to Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I didn't even know where Milwaukee was on the map. I had no clue where Milwaukee was till we took a trip. I think Vin and I went and met with the people there and looked around the town. Drew, this was in the summertime. It was beautiful. Okay, Milwaukee it is. I never thought about winters there.
And DC winters were kind of cold. DC and New York winters were kind of cold.
Yeah, they were kind of cold, but Wisconsin winters are bad too. So anyway, then we do the whole Milwaukee thing. And 4 weeks after I get there, we had hardly settled in the house. Because I think we moved in July around. That Vin comes and says, well, the chickie that's working in the office has decided she's going back to school and he needs some help in the office. So can I come and help out? Now, mind you, I have never worked in a medical practice. I don't know anything. I don't know about insurance. I don't know about billing. I don't know about coding. I don't know about anything. I say, okay. I'll come help you out. And Drew, it was baptism by fire. I went to every coding conference they had. I went to every insurance this. I went to every that. I learned everything by fire. And the 3 weeks, come help me out for a little bit, turned into years.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me? It turned into years. And trust me, I never worked so hard in my entire life. All the other work that I used to do, I never worked so hard in my entire life. These were 10-hour days, come home, do all the other stuff, do all the cleaning, do all the washing, the ironing, the cooking, the this, do all the books,
Wait a minute.
Start again on Monday morning.
There was a time you went on strike for 30 days.
I don't remember that.
You didn't want people to ask you for anything.
Say what?
You didn't want people to ask you for anything? You wanted...
True. I have never worked so hard in my entire life. Believe me. All the UN work, all the World Bank work, all the Bank of Jamaica work.
You don't remember putting signs on stuff in the house saying...
I may have. I don't remember though.
Don't ask me.
I did that.
Out of order on the laundry machine.
Seriously?
Out of commission. You don't remember that? I'm on strike. Mom this, mom that. Go ask your father.
No, I don't remember that. I did that?
Yes.
I do not remember that.
You were on strike for 30 days.
And I kept it up.
You didn't want anybody to ask you for anything.
I don't even remember that.
That happened.
What I do remember, though, Drew, I remember going on strike with the laundry. Remember we had the laundry thing where you guys would put the clothes down the chute? And remember when you all had to start washing your own clothes? Because, I mean, it was like an avalanche in the laundry room. And then you would try to stuff every piece of clothing that you have in the washer at one time. The washer couldn't even turn. It was just going...
That's right.
It was crazy.
It's a great time.
It was... I mean, listen. And then, on top of that, here comes Kyle and Auntie Marcia. Then here comes Anthony. It was crazy.
Crazy fun?
It was crazy fun, but crazy hard. I mean, you kids were not easy. And you kids ate like you didn't have a bottom in your stomach. And Drew, do you remember the snack bags?
Yes.
Oh my God. It was crazy. I mean, we could have gone bankrupt buying food in that house.
That's why Essie was there part of the time, to help.
Yeah, she was there. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Grandma Essie being there was like a heart. It was like a godsend. If she were not there, I think it would have broken me. If she were not there. She helped a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She did. She helped a lot. But, all in all, it was fun, but I was just, I never worked so hard in my entire life. I didn't know which end was up. I was just like a machine, just going through the motions, but I didn't know which end was up. I was so tired all the time. I don't know how I did it. A lot of times now I say to myself, how in the hell did I ever do all that? It was hard.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It was hard.
Yeah. That was it's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. I've never worked so hard in my entire life. Being in D.C. and even when you kids were younger and having to go to work and juggling everything, somehow that was manageable. But boy, the Milwaukee situation, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyhow, We survived.
That's right. That's right. All right. So we're gonna do more.
We're gonna